city councils, where a year or so ago, they shut them down. The ACLU wouldn't allow it. And they threatened suing. Can't happen anymore. That's a victory. You don't even know the battle was fought. But it was important. And I say all that to tell you it's time for us to learn to communicate, to educate, and motivate, and get some stuff done. We need to fix some problems. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to come to every organization. I'm going to ask you to come on board with us. I'm not going to ask you, the Christian Chamber doesn't do anything except communicate, educate, and motivate. That's what we do. We're going to create an app, and it's going to go on your phone. And this is going to be the heartbeat of everything you do. We got a company right now building, it's going to be slick. And on that app, it's going to have South Carolina Christian Foundation button. Hit a button, you're going to be able to go in there and you're going to learn about the foundation. It's going to have an app where you can go in there and learn about NU ministry. It's going to have a way to connect every ministry in every city together. The problem is everybody in the world is not interested in Fellowship of Christian Athletes. There's just a group of us. Some people are more interested in feeding centers, in prison ministries, and other things. So we connect the people of like-mindedness to the things that interest them. You can find them on the app. On this app, we're going to have something for the churches. I don't know if we can do this or not. I'm just having a second thought about it, but it was a good idea at the time. I want pastor sermons to be on here. That could be a problem. We need to talk about that, Rodney. I want to be able to, I want to have a button that you can hit. Let's say one of your old ladies comes in and needs a refrigerator. We got a program, an app. You can hit a button, you can type in what you need. You can do it, pastor can do it, I can do it, but it all goes through the church. Hit that button, you find that refrigerator, somebody donates it, they get a tax break. You go to that church closest to it, pick it up, and you got it. Anything you need, type it in here, and they'll find it for you. What's it called, Jamie? It's called Commit. And it's a program that it'll be all over the state. It'll start out in a 30-mile radius and try to find it, and then it'll keep going out until it finds it. And what it does, it gives you a place to put all your junk. Instead of having yard sales, you give them to Commit. If it's a bicycle, if it's a refrigerator, if it's a microwave, put it on there. Why do you do that? You get a tax break. They'll send you a tax receipt, take it off on your taxes, and somebody will claim it. Pretty cool. Communicate, educate, and motivate. My family council will be on here. They'll have a lot of information. We'll be able to connect you with churches in every city and every state. We'll be able to connect you with every prison ministry in the state. We'll be able to connect you with you need some help in a foreign language, okay? Push the button, it'll get you to this ministry and it'll help you. You want to go to find a good church, a Baptist church in Dillon, South Carolina. Hit the button, it'll list them on here, and you can go to it and you can find out all you want to know about it. It's a communication network. And it'll connect us, and it'll give us a chance to educate and motivate. Now, it's going to be through the Christian Chamber, and we're going to have things going on that you need to know about. We're going to have a calendar of all the good things that are going on by city, by region, by state. And it's just like the building the walls of Jericho. We're going to surround this city with Christian things going on everywhere. And we're going to know about what's going on, and we're going to get organized. Okay? Now, it won't happen unless people of influence people. And what I need from each of y'all is I need you to join the Christian Chamber. And I'm not even going to tell you what it's going to cost you, because I don't even know. We're looking at several ways of doing this thing. But what I'd like to do is I'd like everybody in the state to be able to join for $50. Okay? When that person joins, I'll send them a t-shirt, maybe, a bumper sticker or a window sticker to go on the car that has a logo on it. So everybody that flies that flag, you'll see it. And I'll send them a free copy of the app to go on their phone for $50 a year. Okay? It's not much, but it's a movement. We're trying to create a movement. A movement can happen. Have you ever thought about what made the Tea Party work? Did you get anything from being a part of the Tea Party? Did you get an app, or did you get a t-shirt or a bump sticker? But people join it by millions. Don't even know how it worked, and I joined because I just want to I like what they did. But I never could figure out who ran it, who was in charge, or how it organized. It was a movement, but it didn't last because it didn't have structure. It wasn't built to last, and it's dying down. We're going to build something that will last. We're going to build something that for the first time since Jesus died on the cross, the Christian community in the state of South Carolina embraced unity and made it work. And what happens if it works? I'm going to take you a little bit further along. Let's say it works. What would it mean to our state? What would our state look like if unity took hold? Hold that thought for a minute. So let me explain to you what you got to do to get there. You have got to say, I believe in it. You got to help me create a culture of unity. And you got to be willing to say, we need this, I want it, I'll do whatever it takes, and it'll make me better. And even if it don't make me better, it'll further God's kingdom, and I'm in. That's what I'm hoping everybody will say. I'm going to do it because I know it's of God, and I know it's important, and I know it'll work. And if you don't buy that, and I got some other things to say, I can advertise for it. I can bring businessmen to you. I can help you. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the way I see it working. This is a businessman approach, and I don't like the way we raise money. It's terrible. I'm tired of going to fundraisers, although we do them. I'm tired of going to banquets. Lexus banquet's incredible. But we're business people. We ought to think of a better way to do it. So here's what I'm thinking. We rate for $50. Let's just say we can get 50,000 members in 6 months. And let's say it costs me $25 per person. So I still got $25 left. 50,000 is $1 million. Okay? I don't want 50,000 members. I want 500,000 members. The Christian Chamber budget will never be over $500,000. That's our goal. Could change, probably not. We don't need it. But where does the rest of that money go? We put it in the Christian Foundation. We get grants to all our ministries, and we put the money right where God wants it, back in the ministries. And helps you get more money to do what you do. Because what we're about is what you do. We don't do anything, we just make what you do better. And that's our purpose. What does that mean to the church? We're going to have a job app on here. Anybody in that church that doesn't have a job, the pastor can type his name in. It goes straight into a service, and they're going to find that person, and they're going to get all over it until that guy gets a job. Black pastors I've talked to said the biggest problem we got is our people don't have jobs. Okay? Put their name in here. The biggest problem, I run a staffing company, and I can't find people to work. Come on, connect the dots. Put them in the app, we'll get them to work, and we'll help them get jobs. I don't want to go to the church right now. I want to go stay with you guys. You need people. You need every parachurch ministry needs a business group behind them, or two. They need a church or two behind them. Because that will make them function and work better and give them the financial support they need. All y'all doing is doing work that the church can't do. And you know what the problem is? The church looks at you as a competition. Because you're sucking money out of the business people that are supposed to be giving that money to the church, and it's a vicious circle. We've got to stop that is not kingdom thinking. That is empire building. Okay? We've got to cut that crap out and help you guys grow and help you get these jobs done, because the people that you guys are helping are people that are working for me, that are on drugs, that need your help. And if your ministry doesn't work, I got no other options. The church doesn't offer anything to help them. It's got to work. And it's the best tool available. So here's what I'm saying to you, Michael. Here's what I'm saying to you. Will you can you look me in the eye and say, I want you to get me 100 members for $50 a piece, because I gotta build an army. Remember watching those movies where they're sitting there fighting, and all of a sudden the army from the north came, and the army from the south came, and before you know it, they had a big army? That's what we're trying to do. When Alexa and Mike Hamlet and some of these pastors go to Columbia to fight a battle, we're gonna put an army with them. I was down there fighting the Pancake Bill, and there was 25 Christian believers, warriors. I mean, these guys were, what do you call them, the knights of the round table. These are real warriors. Day or night. They didn't care if it was 2 o'clock in the morning. They were going to stay there until they won that battle. Him, her, Mike Hamlet. I can tell you who they were. And I'm sitting around thinking, this is foolish. Where in the heck is the Christian army of 50,000 that all be here pounding the doors and getting these bills straightened out and getting our state straightened out and saving babies? Where are they? I was fighting a protest when I was 25 years old. Dr. Jackson invited me to go and protest an abortion clinic, and there was about 50 of us. And I said, Doc, where's the rest of the people? He said, William, he said, if the church would close their doors and get out on the street one Sunday, they'd shut down every abortion clinic in the state. Now, why won't they? Why has our church not done that? Why has the Christian army not risen up? Where are we? It's ludicrous. It's crazy. I'm going to pull them together, and I want to create a movement, and it's only going to happen if you fly the flag, if you help me sell it, and if you control your people that you have influence over. That's the key. I got a family of about 150 close family members, and if I hit a button and I ask them, they'll all sign, because they trust me and my family. I got about 500 more people on my email list, and if I ask them, half of them will. That's still 250 more, maybe 500. If I bring 500 to the table, and you bring 100, and you bring 100, and you got more people, you bring 500, you got to get 1,000. You see what I'm saying? Now, what if Mike Hamlet says, I'll bring 1,000? And what if this pastor says, I'll bring 500? It ain't going to take us long to get to 50,000. I want 10,000 people to sign a letter of commitment and send $50 in the city of Spartanburg. How many people in the city of Spartanburg? 60,000? I want 10,000 people to sign up for the Christian Chamber in the city of Spartanburg, or we won't win. Because if we, the people of influence, can't motivate people, then it won't work. If we can't win Spartanburg, we can't win Greenville. Can't win Greenville, can't win Columbia. You understand? Will people pay $50? Will the parachurch leaders commit to that? Will the preachers commit to that? Will the businessmen commit to that? I don't know. God knows. They're going to have to say yeah, or they're going to have to say no. It's a kingdom of choice. The state of South Carolina is according to the census, whatever that means, 80% of the people in the state of South Carolina claim to be Christian. It's 3 million, there's about 4 million people. You know what that means? About 3 million people claim to be Christian. And if half of those go to church, that'd be 1.5 million. And if half of those are saved, that'd be 750,000. I want 500,000, 40 years out. 500,000?
Before this year's out?
Before next year. 2000, okay, 416's out. Guys, this is going to launch in January, and I'm going to ask you to be patient. And here's why I'm going to ask you to be patient, because of 2 things. One is we got work to do. We're going to catch a monster, and then we're going to have to feed the monster. And it's going to be a monster. The app's got to be in place. It's going to take us till about February to get the app in place. I can show you what it's going to look like, but I can't give it to you until it's complete. And it's got to work. there's some things that's gonna have to happen. The alliances and all have gotta be agreed upon. Now, here's what we're gonna, when I launch this thing, I mean, again, you gotta understand, I'm asking you today to think about it. I'm not asking you to do anything today. Will it work? What have I said that you don't think will work? And what have I not said that I should say? It will make it better. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you to, I'm gonna take 3 covenant letters. A covenant to a parachurch group, and a covenant to a pastor, and a covenant to a business owner. And they're gonna be different because their issues are different. And I'm gonna say, this is what I need you to do, and this is what I'm willing to do for you. And I want you to agree, okay, here's what I'm thinking. If I come to a typical parachurch leader, Scott, say, Scott, I want you to commit $300 to join the chamber. And I want you to agree to find me 100 members. 100 of your friends and people of influence. We called it oikos a long time ago. Remember those days? People that you have influence over, don't stop until you sign up 100 members. This is an Amway business, okay? When we build our empire, we're gonna build it the same way. You influence your people, she'll influence her people, and do you think you could bring in 100 people if you really wanted to, and you were committed to it, and you understood it? Yeah or no?
I don't have that many supporters from my own ministry. I'm not a particularly good person to ask for money, but if I understood what it's for and what purpose, like I think the part where I got, enlightened or awakened when you talk about, finding a job or, what's it gonna do for me? I hate to say it, that's how people think, is it worth my time? Well, I got enough to do, I don't need anything more to play. What's it gonna do for me? That's when I can start to say I could get on board for that. But honestly, I've got to go back to the table for me. And mine's $20 a month as a new investor, and I'm lousy at that. I'm just being frank with you.
Well, that's what you got.
What's its purpose?
And I think,
What's it
like,
gonna do?
as I'm thinking about that, if you can get all the way down the road, I mean, I love the idea that, okay, we're going to have a fixed operating budget of $500,000, and if we ever got to a place where we had 500,000 members, and obviously you see exponentially what that becomes resource-wise, and we then become, as you said, a conduit that goes straight out to those ministries, and that's a game changer.
That's where my light bulb went.
Yeah, but here's the problem. There's a gap between that reality and the reality of today. And so for Amber, can she devote her time, effort, energy to promote the South Carolina Christian Chamber? Because that's not where we are now. We're not even close to that. And she's got to make payroll this month. And so now I'm having to ask people for 2 things. And one of them is this incredible, I mean, I like to think in terms of my ministry as vision. And I know what I want to see God use. But there is a gap between where we hope to see God take this, which I agree with you. I can't believe the amount of ministry Spartanburg County does support, because the same people are going to every fundraising dinner. And, our city's not growing population-wise exponentially. And so we've just got, I think Spartanburg County has to be above average in the amount of ministries that it supports. I think it's phenomenal. But as we started a few years ago, and I've yet to solve this for my own ministry, I just don't feel like the answer for us is another golf tournament or another fundraising dinner, because the same people would be coming to mine that come to all of the others. And I wouldn't even feel good about saying, I need you to change the name of your check from this ministry to my ministry. And so, as I hear that vision, it's incredibly exciting. But the problem is the gap between November 2016 and when we would be to that. And so as you ask some of these leaders to go and be that mouthpiece for what you're trying to accomplish, that's where I think it gets muddy for them. I mean, does that make sense? I mean, obviously, if you were to say, hey, we're going to get you to a point where we're going to have 500,000 people through the chamber who are going to be funneling to your ministry. So that's where I think people have to stop and think about their context and say, What does that look like for us now?
Well, here's what we found out years ago when we were dealing with pastors. We're asking them to do something they couldn't do and didn't have time to. And I'm not asking you to go out and sell for me. I'm just asking you to use your influence when you can to pass on the information that you give. Just shoot an email out.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. We used to ask the pastors, well, if you really cared about unity, you'd go out and take a pastor of another religion or another race and go have lunch with him once a month. Well, dang, a pastor ain't even got time to take his own congregation out, much less somebody else's. It was asking something that was not possible for him to do effectively and efficiently, and it became a burden. If this becomes a burden, then it won't work.
We need tools to be able to, for the people on my email list, the people that, these volunteer meetings I have, and there's a lot of people involved in English Crossing that I could cast the vision to, but I need tools. I need a video. I need something that I can shoot through an email or.
You're gonna have an app, you're gonna have an app with all that on. You're gonna have handouts. And here's what I'm gonna really ask you to do. Take your sticker and put it on your car. Fly the flag. Okay?
And I think $50 is reasonable.
Yeah.
It's a very reasonable amount. But like he's saying, there is this gap of we are constantly fundraising for our own efforts. How do we project this as well? How can we cast the vision of what's in it for them? Just like what you're saying, they've got to see. I would love to eliminate the banquets and the golf tournaments. Now, I would love to eliminate and say this would be the avenue as businesses give to, rather than all of us pulling from the same people, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
We're all pulling from the same resources. But if these resources could be collected and then divided reasonably, that would be, but how do we cast that vision to
Yeah,
people?
which kind of, if you're gonna be working with SECC, work with SECF, so that the excess $50 things go into that fund, then we haven't competed or created two things, but work together, then, because you're already set up to interview each of us, we have to fill out a form. That's got a lot of integrity, it's already in place. So you're talking about that going together with that in terms of the fund? Basically, we run the fundraise the same way through the grant writing. But all we're doing, I'm just saying, thinking out loud, is sending this app out to get more people funding this so we can fund
But
that.
let me say this on that. I don't know that we'll end up, we'll eliminate fundraising from y'all's methods because that's what you used to and that's what you do. Could be down the road that we could figure out better ways to do it, but let me tell you what we just did. We got our hands around if you would, the truth were known, there's a handful of people in the city of Spartanburg that give money to ministries because I give every penny I got only to Christian ministries. I don't give, and I love United Way, and I don't do that. I take what I got and I give it to ministries. And I'm gonna give you the ability to know who all these people are, all over the state. And if you say, hey, I sure wish I knew Tobin Castle in Columbia. He's a $20 billion, incredible godly man. Now, might not apply to you, it might not apply to you, but it might. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look straight in the eye of the pastors and I'm going to say, pastors, these parachurch ministries are your arm. They're not your enemy. We need to get behind them. And a culture of unity shift makes your job easier because now I've exposed you just like we did with you. You come to a chamber if you choose to, and I'll give you the microphone for 3 minutes. Talk fast. And tell them what you do, and if anybody's interested, and on top of that, I'm going to have you on the app, and I'm going to shoot you all over the state. And if there's some guy over in Charleston that wants to talk to you about what you do because he likes what he saw, then bam, there's your a free advertisement. Follow?
Yeah, and if you had come to me and we started this conversation and asked me, would you be willing to sign up for $50 a year, I'd say yes. And from everything you said about the benefit, but you didn't ask me that, you asked me, you get 100 people. And first of all, I'm thinking, well, I can't do that for myself, let alone for something that I'm, and then what is the individual? I can see pastors and ministry leaders and business leaders, that's for us. But what does the individual John Doe have to do with that? Other than, are you casting the vision for what it can be? I'm willing to do that. But can I get them to give more to this?
Well, and I mean, as far as, I think any nonprofit that wouldn't be paid willing to pay $50
Yeah, we have
to
to pay
network
the
with this
state
is
now.
a fool and probably
Right.
doesn't need to be running a nonprofit. I mean, the value is, that's a no-brainer.
Right,
And
right.
and I love, and I don't know if you say this regularly, but when you said a moment ago, I thought this was a gold statement when you said, we don't make anything, we make what you do better. I think that is applicable to both the nonprofits and to the businesses. That is a great pitch. Because you're teaching them, if they don't know already, how to run a Christ-centered business and the fruit that bears out to the owners, to the employees, to the culture of that company. So you're making that better. You're making the nonprofit better by being able to serve them and help them find resources and connect dots. I mean, I love that. That statement resonates to whomever you're talking to. It works it speaks to the churches.
And what
We're not trying to be a church, but we can make your church better when we get the business leaders and the nonprofits and the members of your church all talking.
Well, what I'm trying to feel is what your pain is. You know, man, you just told me I gotta find I'm not really looking for that. All I want you to do is every chance you get, fly the flag and promote us.
Yeah, we do that, absolutely.
Now, I will teach you from a business standpoint that everybody I've even had to learn this, and I've got an app in my company called Communify. And it's given me the ability to communicate with all my people in a different way. At our church, we do one called the City. And it's just a communication network. If you learn to communicate, so when I send you a flyer and you say, that's important, and I can shoot it out to my people, you just did your job.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is
Like a
passing
bill down in
information
Columbia or something like
and
that.
promoting and helping me create a culture of unity, and people will come. When the fire starts burning, people will join. Hey, he's got a bumper sticker. Why don't I have one? Where do I got to get one? And they'll come to you and say, where'd you get that bumper sticker? I want one. You got to join the chamber. Here's the flyer.
William, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I really believe in this. I think we need more unification with parachurches, churches and businesses. Baby steps. I tell my guys all the time at the house, just baby steps. Let's get our ducks in a row. And you can count on me for 100. I can get 100 people.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep.
I appreciate you.
All right.
William, as you've been talking, I just wrote this down, that unity creates a culture of influence, and influence creates a culture of accountability. And I know that y'all think everything I talk about slants political, but I'll just give you a good example. There was a bill that came up several years ago, Bobby, I think you were with us, but about 8 of us met, and we just said, no, these particular legislators that are holding this up say that they're Christians, well, they're not acting like it. And so we pray and we show up in Columbia, and I don't know what happened except the Lord went before us. And we got off the elevator, and I'll never forget it, Danny Burton was sitting there, and he was one of the ones we were having trouble with, and he said, well, we heard y'all were here, what do you want? And it was me and Lisa Van Riper, and like, we call her the field marshal. But that held them accountable. And another example of that is, I don't know how many of you know it, but in Greenville County now, we have the first openly gay legislator that was elected in the Bob Jones precinct. And nobody did anything about it. And then the day after the election, he comes out and says, this is who I am, look, my life. I know Jason. I love Jason. So what happens is they have a fundraiser for him to retire his debt. And there's all these names of people supporting that I know, but there's also names that are conspicuously absent. And I called one of the legislators and I said, got an invitation to this thing, noticed your name wasn't on there. And he said, Alexa, if I put my name on there, I know what you and your crowd I wouldn't get elected the next time. That's what this group can do, because unity creates influence, and influence creates accountability. And we make these people accountable for the decisions that they're making, and like it or not, y'all all have influence. all have influence.
One of the the craziest things I have experienced in the state of South Carolina is what goes on with Jumpstart Ministry. We got a ministry that has a less than 4% retention, what's it called? Recidivism thing. And our state won't adopt it because it's Christian. And our average is 75% return rate for prisoners. You know what that costs this state? Because 75% of the prisoners return. It's crazy what it costs us. And if we could reduce that to 4%, you know what your tax dollar would do? You know what, how much money we would save this state if they would adopt this program and it would work? And that's the crazy.
And the reason that Jumpstart actually works is because of business leaders in the Spartanburg area, because it enables us to be almost self-sustaining, because they're willing to hire the guys who have a record. They're willing to say, you know what, I believe in grace, I believe in second opportunities, and I'm willing to hire these men.
I got about 10 of them working for me right now, and it's a challenge, but it works. It's a good challenge. Some of them are a challenge to keep working.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when they get back on, I send them over to these guys and they help them. They run through their program. So if they don't do their job, I can't do my job. If you don't do your job, I don't get a shot at it.
My feedback on this would be from the churches, businesses, and nonprofits. I would consider asking more for like $10 per month and tie that in maybe with the monthly meeting. Because they could set it up on auto draft and never have to think about it again. And ask it from an ambassador in the church. We have very little success getting churches to partner with us in Spartanburg. But if you have one ambassador in a church, a retired senior, who's willing to own it.
That's what we're going to do. That's a good thing. And we're going to offer programs for the church like Salt and Light. It's a men's ministry in the church, and we're going to ask the pastors to kind of run those, have a deacon or a man in the church to be a point man. And then he'll report, get all the information, and he'll report to the pastor on things that are going on, so the pastor knows. So that's exactly how it works.
One other thing I would say, and I know you guys have spent countless hours thinking and considering this, but in every one of those examples that you mentioned, the pain capable bill, the issue at USC Upstate, there's one other that you mentioned, I can't recall, but there would be people
The Willis of the house of labor.
who faithfully attend churches, who would, without question, would call themselves Christians, and who serve their community, who would disagree with every one of those things. They would say you were wrong to do that. And that's the Rubik's Cube of unity. That's why it's not solved. And so, and it's not my place to judge their heart or where they stand in terms of the Lord. I know I have my personal opinions, and I'm always amazed at how differently people who call themselves Christians can land on certain social and moral issues. I just can't even fathom, but they do. And so I think the chamber will have to decide, we're unified, but we're unified and this is what we are, and if you can buy into that, but there will be people who just flat out disagree with.
But you want me to tell you why that happens? And I believe this with all my heart. The reason that happens is because people who know the right and wrong aren't influencing people with right and wrong.
Oh, I don't disagree with
When
that.
we
at
were
all.
voting, I was sitting in my Sunday school class, and one of the ladies came up, and there was a candidate that had caused us a lot of problems. And she came up to me and she said, you know, we got to get behind this guy because I heard he's good. And I said, what have you heard? And this guy was a dingbat, and he was problems. And the Christian community should have got rid of him. And she had heard from one of her friends that he was a great guy. She didn't have a clue. And she set up God in the church and in the class and said, "You vote for this guy." I'm thinking, guys, come on. People don't know, and there's no, the pastors and the leaders in that church ought to be engaged enough to know what the truth is and then tell the truth. And it's not happening. So it's a combination of poor leadership and poor information and not having a clue what goes on, and their people have the wrong message, and therefore they have the wrong, and we lose.
People perish for a lack of knowledge.
But that's the communication and the education part. My pastor would fight to you know, for Payne Cable, if he'd have known what it was, and he'd have understood it, he would have done something about it too, but he didn't. And in fairness to him, and not in fairness to him, he should have known, but he didn't. But yeah, we got those problems. We gotta communicate, we gotta tell people what's right and wrong, and we gotta define it in terms of moral value so that it's not political anymore. It's God's word says this. And that's what we stand on. What else? What are you thinking? Scoot out when you gotta go, because we're running a little long.
I'm thinking, really, a lot of what they're talking about is sharing this. You say you need a video or something to show
Some
people.
tools.
Some of the wins, we need to show them that we're doing something, that we're winning some of these things. So tell them about the Payne Cable bill and tell them about some of the stories of what this chamber means and the efforts that it's doing. I think is going to be valuable for people to say, I can be a part of helping abortion and funding that and helping that, being a part and communicating through a newsletter or an email or something like that. I'm a part of that. The communication part is a key to letting everybody say $50 is nothing if I can save a baby's life.
But if nothing else, just send a message along. I mean, I don't need your money, I need your
Yeah.
communication network.
And I think that's what you're asking us for.
Yeah.
But like I say, but whenever it gets to them, it's like, I'm going to tell you what I find. Most people want to help. Most people want to be involved. They want to make a difference with their life. They know they're called here to make a difference and have purpose. And they need an outlet to do that. They've been burned so many times. It just can't be an abstract.